So I grew up drinking lots of Coke, but over the years, I've noticed more odd things in their story. Coca-Cola was made by a man named John Pemberton. After serving in the Civil War, he was left severely wounded and was given morphine to help the pain. Unfortunately, he got addicted to it, so to combat this, he started his search for a substitute. Luckily, John would quickly find one called Vin Mariani. And through the drink, he would actually slowly overcome his addiction, but maybe for the wrong reasons. It contained both wine and cocaine. This was back in the 1880s though. Regulation in this space was very limited, so many other drinks were marketed to cure illnesses too, while in reality, there is no studies to prove that. John wanted to create a better version of the medicine. Therefore, in 1884, he created one called French wine coca, but his drink was basically a ripoff of Vin Mariani. He actually did believe in it and tried to sell it, but sadly, that all didn't matter when Prohibition hit Georgia, causing many states to start banning alcohol. In a panic, John had to create a non-alcoholic version fast, so after looking through some ingredients, he settled on using cola nuts and lots of sugar to replace the wine. With the new recipe in place, they also pivoted the name to Coca-Cola. The company now just states that the name means absolutely nothing, but it was a reference to the two main ingredients in the syrup at the time, the coca leaf, which contained cocaine, and cola nuts, which contain caffeine. They started to sell their new syrup at pharmacies where they would mix it up with carbonated water, which really did help the prices stay low. But still, nobody was buying it. Their efforts of trying to market it as a medicine that can relieve headaches wasn't working because there were already other medicines on the market claiming the same exact thing. But that was the least of John's worries because he died on August 16th, 1888, only a few years after he created Coca-Cola. Fortunately, before he died, he met a man named Asa Candler. He initially had no hope in the company, but the more he thought of it, the more he grew to like it. Splashing a cool $2,300 on Coca-Cola, he was now in charge. Now, in the 1890s, the company was still not popular, so to fix this, they started slapping their logo on every single thing they could. This was way back before even TVs were invented, so this was the only way to get people to know about your product. However, it was still not enough, so they just started giving out Cokes for free by reaching out to pharmacies and getting their loyal customers information to send them a free coupon, knowing if they just got one sip of their drink, they would get instantly hooked. And well, he was right. Coca-Cola pivoted from their original strategy of marketing it as a medicine to a lifestyle drink because now they would be able to target a lot more people other than ill people. This was perfect timing as many people started to catch on that most medicines out were lying about their claims. In 1902, Georgia banned cocaine distribution, causing them to change their ingredients. This left them in a standstill, having no idea what to do, until Candler had an idea to use coca leaf extract without the cocaine. Very smart move because now he'd be able to preserve all the flavors of Coke. However, in the 1920s, the trade on coca became very restrictive to the point where they had to rethink their entire operation. Coca-Cola was able to grow from a struggling beverage company to a massive corporation at this point. There was absolutely no way that they're gonna give up now. So they just bribed the government, also known as lobbying. The Harrison Narcotics Tax Act was created, and in Section 6 of it, it allowed the use and sale of coca only for registered companies and individuals. Now that Coca-Cola was able to keep selling their drinks, demand started to pile in. Everyone was seemingly trying to get more of this addicting drink, and when World War II came, they saw an opportunity of a lifetime. The US government announced a sugar ration at the beginning of the war. Coca-Cola kept pushing the fact that Coke needed to be exempted. They showed multiple studies funded by themselves to show that Coke had many great benefits. It surprisingly worked when a Coca-Cola executive got appointed on the rationing board, even going so far that Coke's president even promised to give every person in a uniform a Coke for 5 cents. That's a very tough claim, especially because they would now be losing money on each bottle. But again, they're playing the long-term game. Every soldier would always remember Coke for being there at their hardest battles in life. And for the citizens, it really showed that Coke was for the people. Many commercials started to get shown with soldiers in them, further making the connection between Coke and the war efforts. It was only getting better for them because behind the scenes, they made a deal with the government to get money to set up bottling plants overseas. According to them, this was a means to boost soldier morale and to spread American influence. In reality, the US was just helping them to expand internationally. The best part was that it came from our pockets. Taxpayers paid for their 64 plants. With soldiers sharing a Coke with all the locals everywhere they went, it grew substantially. Everyone wanted a Coke, even Germany. But that wouldn't be right to sell to them. I mean, if Coke started selling to them, that would show that they did not care for the people at all. so they just created them a different soda called Fanta. It saw huge success there because other drinks weren't allowed to go inside the country due to import restrictions. It's honestly just okay. Coca-Cola was effectively playing both sides and it was working very well. By the end of the war, they sold more than 5 billion bottles of Coke to troops. With Coke's popularity shooting, they were able to get contracts with airlines and even have exclusive contracts with schools. But why? It's quite simple. Schools are underfunded, and having a huge company like Coca-Cola offer you additional money just to have their drinks in your school is a no-brainer. And for Coke, they know if they can get vulnerable students young, they'll become lifetime customers forever. They know this so well that 80% of public schools have contracts with them. It's not like it wasn't working either, because in 1985, they would be in the most backlash they have ever received, and somehow come out winning. Pepsi was on its way to beat Coke in market share. However, they really started to feel the pressure when Pepsi came out with a study showing that in a blind taste test, many people preferred Pepsi more. The sad part was that when Coke tested it for themselves, the result was also Pepsi. This really ate at them, and they knew they had to come back with something better. Honestly, they taste the exact same. This side might be a little sweeter, but I can't tell the difference. Scientists were tasked to concoct a new recipe that would beat Pepsi and Original Coke easily in a blind taste test. They chose to replace Original Coke with this new recipe, and when it launched, it was not looking good at all. Shortly after the launch of New Coke, a wave of backlash came, begging for Coca-Cola to switch back. More than 40,000 letters of protest came their way for days. No one seemed to like the switch. Why? People like what Coke represents, not the actual taste. Coke was the same for 100 years at that point. It was more like a friend that you could always count on and won't switch up on you. So changing the formula was an attack on a lot of their customers. It kind of became popular to start hating on Coca-Cola. I mean, they were a huge company at this point and they didn't have any missteps beforehand. So having this one was just ammunition for people to just start crapping on this company. Even to the point where people at sports games who saw a Coca-Cola commercial just started booing at it. All of the Coca-Cola executives knew that they had to bring back Original Coke, so in July of 1985, only 4 months since New Coke was released, they brought it back. Coke Classic was back on the shelves and people were buying it up. The sales figures were going up drastically to now beating previous sales figures because this entire situation made people realize how much they actually loved Original Coke. Now, for New Coke, no one still liked it. Even with the countless commercials with it, it was quickly discontinued. Recently, they did bring it back for Stranger Things, but many people have stated that it kind of tastes the same as Original Coke. And that's why the next time you purchase something, don't buy the marketing, buy the product.